What's up, wavers? Welcome to PhD in Waves. Welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm gonna go over when exactly you should be wearing your Durag as a 360 waver. The whole point of a Durag is to protect your progress and to keep your hair laid. And those are two important things so you don't mess up your wave pattern. Because if you're not wearing your Durag, it's gonna be very easy for you to mess up your progress, lose progress, create forks, and your pattern is just not gonna be laid and protected. So I wanna give you guys all the times that you should be wearing your Durag. All right, so the first and most important time that you should be wearing your Durag is when you're sleeping, because you're constantly moving around, you're shifting your head, and the pillow is gonna dry out your hair. So you wanna absolutely be wearing a Durag when you're sleeping. This is gonna keep your hair laid and protected. I hope all wavers already know that. You should absolutely be wearing a Durag when you're sleeping. This is probably the most important time that you should be wearing your Durag. The second time you should be wearing your Durag is if you're working out, if you're running, if you're playing sports. This is because when you sweat, your hair is gonna frizz up, and that's gonna make you lose progress. You want to keep your hair laid and protected at all times. So whenever I'm running, whenever I'm at the gym, I always have a Durag because I know I'm going to be sweating, and I want to make sure that my hair is always laid. So if you're playing any kind of sports, football, basketball, make sure you have your Durag on just to keep your pattern laid, because frizziness is just going to make your pattern go out of place. And it's just not gonna be good for gaining progress. You're actually gonna be losing progress. The third time you should be wearing a Durag is if you're in the shower. Like I said, water and sweat, they cause your hair to frizz. So you wanna make sure that you have your Durag on in the shower, because it's gonna protect your hair from frizzing up. You can also wear a shower cap in the shower. That's another good tip. But you do want to make sure you have your Durag in the shower. This is going to prevent your hair from frizzing up, and it's going to keep your pattern laid. Some other times you should be wearing your Durag is if you're out with friends and you feel like you might mess up your waves. Maybe you're at an amusement park. Maybe you're just running around at the beach. This can also cause you to sweat, which is gonna frizz up your hair. So you wanna make sure you do have a Durag on. Another thing that I will say is you don't always have to wear your Durag. It's actually better for your waves to breathe sometimes, but if you are sleeping, you wanna make sure you're wearing a Durag. If you're playing sports or working out, you wanna make sure you're wearing a Durag. If you're in the shower, you wanna make sure you're wearing a Durag. Or if you're doing any activity that is gonna cause you to sweat, or if you feel like something's gonna hit your head and mess up your waves, you do wanna make sure you're wearing a Durag. But other than those times, feel free to let your hair breathe. Or if you're going out on a date, if you're going out to eat, obviously you don't need to wear a Durag. Those are times where you can let your hair breathe. You could show off your waves, because when you're in the process of breaking forks, it's better to let your hair breathe. You don't want to keep the Durag on, locking in those forks. You want to make sure your hair is able to stretch and breathe. But if you constantly have a Durag on, it's kind of like you're locking in those forks. And last but not least, I want to say before you put on a Durag, you want to make sure you're getting in brush sessions and making sure your pattern is in place. You don't want to put on a Durag and lock in all those forks, all that frizzy hair. You want to make sure your hair is brushed into place. You want to make sure everything is in order, and then you want to put on a Durag. That way you're locking in a nice laid pattern. So another thing that a Durag does is it saves your progress. So while you're doing all that brushing and combing, you want to save your progress with a Durag. That's why it's so important to be wearing your Durag. You don't want to make all that brush work go to waste. So the Durag is literally saving all that progress so you can progress on your wave journey. You don't want to get in all these long brush sessions and then ruin your pattern by not wearing a Durag when you're sleeping. And a Durag is mainly used to save that progress so you can continue to build, and then your pattern is gonna continue to get better. If you don't know how to tie your Durag, I have plenty of videos on my channel. Make sure to check out my channel to learn more about wearing your Durag. But that's it for today's video. As always, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you learned something new. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.